Hi everyone and welcome to Meta Market Summit from Stockholm. I'm Cecilia Sundström and I'm heading up Meta in the Nordics. In this section, we're going to talk about how AI and innovation will elevate brand presence and performance. And today I'm joined by my dear friend Robin Leonhufvud, who is the Global Head of Customer Activation at H&M. Robin, before we dive into this exciting topic, can you say a few words on your role at H&M and what you do?
Thank you for having me. Super excited. So basically, if you want to sum up my role, I'm in charge of marketing activation. So 3 different pillars. One is strategy and planning, where basically we set all the frameworks, all the ways of working, and we implement them in our 10 different regions. These strategies and plans are based on our media operations as well as measurement, where we set all of our channel strategies as well as what do you need for content to put in these channels, but also KPIs. So what will be success? So setting up really, really clear frameworks on, okay, what each and every channel format needs to deliver. But to be able to be as successful as possible comes down to the last pillar, which is basically tech. So we have a value stream, which is basically a tech department that enables us with both all of the tech we need to drive these different results. But most of all, like we're able to use AI, we're able to use our customer data to be more personalized and relevant, and really feed back into the strategies, plans, etc. So I've got the full kind of ecosystem, which is exciting.
Which I understand that is exciting. So looking at our partnership, we've been deeply committed to this partnership for many years, and it's due to the transparency we have, the mutual understanding of our business. And I've been so impressed to see how you use test and learn mindset in everything you do.
You nailed it when you said partners. So we've really worked for the past, many years now, working on our relationship. So having a transparent dialogue, being very clear on expectations, and with that, you build trust. And so that trust allows us to be a little bit more challenging when we look at different strategies, but also trying to encourage each other to test more. We have quite a big test and learn department within H&M, and that's just because we want to constantly improve. So the trust we have as partners has really been able to fuel that relationship.
Yes, and I think that's so exciting with our collaboration that we keep challenging each other, and that's truly rewarding. You touch on the role of AI and its importance to drive media efficiency. And I think it's widely known that AEC is our AI solution product that really drives media efficiency, especially for the performance-focused advertisers. And this is by no means a secret to H&M. In fact, you were early on to adopt, and you are a significant adopter and has been for the last 2 years, not only on online sales. If you would describe how AEC has evolved your business, what would that look like?
So a few years ago, we noticed that we weren't getting the most out of our challenge. So we're like, okay, do we need to shift the money, or can we do something new? Have we maximized our customers? So through ASC, we really, really tried to push the button. But what we noticed over the years is it's not just driving performance on a media perspective, but also on an operational perspective. We are a global company, and just the operations around, setting up campaigns and the different formats, it's a lot very time consuming and very costly. So ASC has been quite beneficial for us, both from an operational perspective, but also a media performance.
And how do you track that media performance? What does that framework look like, and the results? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so to get started, if we back things up, we did a soft launch, 14 markets to see, does it actually really work? Rolling it out after the first month, we saw a 20% efficiency on our cost per acquisition. That's the most important KPI that we have and that we look at. So basically with that in mind, we're like, can you imagine what we can do if we fast track it to all 76 markets? So we rolled it out quite quickly, and just having this kind of process and methodology of test and learn gave us the confidence to be able to do that kind of drastic shift and move everything over to ASC quite quickly.
And I know that because it's worked really well for purchases, you've also started using AEC further up in the funnel in the consideration layer.
Yeah, so once we nailed the performance piece, you're never ever satisfied, of course. So we're like, okay, what is our next challenge that we need to tackle? We have obviously a consideration challenge. It's not unique for H&M. I think it's quite common in our category, especially in our vertical. We need to reach our consumer, a new consumer group, a younger group with basically the right type of content and the right type of format to really like drive some type of relevance and interest. So basically, based on that, we really tried to move using AI to find that new audience group. That was step one.
And you're onto something that's truly interesting and also truly important. The fact that we need creative diversification to drive campaign success. And you've been really successful in the last year to use creators to not only create that creative diversification, but also Reels first language, Reels first content.
Yeah, exactly. So in the first step, like we did with ASC, we were using a lot of our own traditional content. We are a global company, so obviously we have to do something that fits the majority of our countries. Looking at our summer campaign, we did a swimwear campaign, which is super, super relevant for everybody in Europe. But then looking at the US, obviously they don't go on vacation the same way we do. So we identified a gap, but we also identified an opportunity. So looking at our partnership, we came together. We talked about, okay, what can we do to actually solve this? You guys have been in great support together with a few other partners, VMX, but also Smartly, to say, okay, let's do something different. We worked with 9 different creators, which has been incredibly successful. I think the key was us working really, really tight, but not just that, we also created a really clear brief to the creators that formed Find Your Beach, which was a really, really successful campaign in the US.
I love Find Your Beach. I think it's a fantastic campaign. I think it's a perfect example of, instead of sort of tapping into existing trends, you worked with the creators to fuel existing trends and finding your audiences, young women on our platforms. What was the results of that campaign?
So first of all, we just didn't want to isolate it to one piece. We wanted to do a full funnel campaign, and looking at how we increased consideration with 20% on the tests that we've done, we wanted to like look at, okay, what does that mean when we actually put consideration that fuels the AI to actually really, really drive effects? So we put together like creator content, influencer content. We put it together in a really, really clear channel strategy. And what we noticed is when you put all the different pieces together, we actually created amazing results. So we had 1.8 incremental return on our media spend, which is like amazing. That never happens. And most of all, that campaign was the best campaign in the US in 2024. So I'm incredibly happy with that test. Based on the results, we obviously wanted to use our test and learn framework, and we started to test it in other areas. So we launched it in LATAM, and we also launched it in India, and exactly the same results. So really, really finding the recipe of using both creator content with our own content, using consideration, but also AI-driven performance, which is amazing.
That is truly amazing, and those results are impressive. So well done. So looking into 2025, is this way of working changing the way you look at production?
Yeah, definitely. So we learned a lot together when we did the test, a lot around processes, ways of working, what it will take to take both creator but also influencer content and fuse it into our channel strategies. So basically, almost everything we learned from this test, we're kind of implementing it into our processes, into our operating model, and rolling it out. So 2025 strategy is based on that recipe. So we need to see how it will work, but also we'll need to tweak it along the way. So we are incredibly happy that you will see, you probably have seen, that there is a big shift in how we communicate in your channels today.
Yeah, I think that's also so rewarding after this kind of project that we see benefits coming out of that from a production perspective. Before we close out, Robin, do you want to share anything, any learnings from working closely with Meta to other advertisers?
Yeah, so if I can give one piece of advice, is to build a tight relationship. We're one team. I think you guys feel it. And I just want to give a big thanks to our meta team that we work really, really close together. There's a respect between our relationship. You guys are quite open with your platform, new formats, and how we are actually performing, but we're also very open with our business goals and what we need to achieve. So this joint collaboration has really allowed us to actually push each other in a way that's actually driven amazing results, not just in 2024, but in the past. And I'm super excited with the leap we did in 2024 to see what 2025 will really deliver on.
Thank you so much, Robin, for coming, for sharing the great success with your campaigns, the tools. I'd love to talk more to you, but I hope the audience got some really interesting learnings from this. With that said, thank you and goodbye from Stockholm. Enjoy the rest of the summit.